Mariah Carey, the enigmatic chanteuse and international superstar, stepped into the witness box not as a performer, but as someone who could speak the truth. The courtroom was silent. Her entrance was not just shocking, it was seismic. In a case already rife with incendiary footage and fabricated testimony, she brought gravity. Under oath, she pronounced a terrifying confession that Diddy had supposedly made behind closed doors. "If they find out what I really do, it's over." Her voice, once reserved for stadiums and award ceremonies, now boomed across the courtroom. The temptation of hush money and the memory of a night in 2003 had kept Mariah silent for a long time, but she finally mustered the courage to speak about what happened that night. The incident involving her and Diddy had nothing to do with romance, rivalry, or anything tabloid-worthy. It was about disclosure. And when she stepped up to the platform, she made it plain. She no longer felt fear. Here, we learn how Mariah Carey played a key role in revealing Diddy's inner world and how the revelations she made shocked everyone in the courtroom. When the court clerk announced the next name on the witness list, Mariah Carey, the entire courtroom remained still for 5 whole seconds. Not even the stenographer could continue typing. Mariah, clad in a sharp black suit with golden accents and heavy sunglasses that concealed her face, suddenly materialized as if called forth by the gallery's collective breath. With her legal team standing at her sides like royal guards, she made her way slowly to the stand. As Diddy glanced upwards, he felt a little tremor ripple across his face, like a blink or a lip twitch. This was beyond his expectations. A half nod was the judge's usual expression of recognition, but this was not just any witness. This was a global celebrity with seemingly everything to lose and little to gain. Mariah Carey entered the courtroom to testify in the Diddy trial. News bulletins began screaming as cameras outside the chamber swarmed to record the moment. With measured determination, she removed her sunglasses as she stepped up to the stand. A low voice in the crowd murmured, "She's actually going through with it." The prosecutor then got up, cleared her throat, and started questioning. "Dear Ms. Carey, will you kindly inform the court about your relationship with Mr. Sean Combs?" Mariah was unfazed. "We were just friends," she explained, "just 2 individuals, circling the same business, neither a buddy nor a colleague. Right up until 2003, they were on good terms. Suddenly, all attention shifted to Diddy, who had become very still behind the defense table. Even as his lawyer leaned in close, Diddy said nothing. He simply stiffened. "I wasn't invited here to discuss rumors," Mariah added. "I never imagined I'd have to repeat something under oath, but here I am, because of what I was told in private." The jurors leaned forward. A hush fell across the gallery. A shift in tone had occurred. There was no way this pop legend was going to say anything subtle. "I've waited over 20 years to say this," she said, staring Diddy directly in the eyes. On several occasions, music video sets, award shows, corporate dinners, prior to 2003, Mariah and Diddy's paths crossed. Although they weren't working together, they shared common handlers, rivals, and admirers. On the surface, Mariah testified, she saw Diddy at many gatherings from the late 90s into the early 2000s. He was constantly present, both politically and physically. She recalled an incident from 2001 at the MTV Video Music Awards where Diddy allegedly approached her at an after-party and praised her new album. "He was there in every discussion and room," she said, "sometimes without my knowledge or consent." Before making the bizarre comment, "You're too clean for this place," he assured her he valued her career. She had laughed it off, but the expression haunted her for years. As she continued, Mariah described how viciously competitive the music industry had been back then. There was more to allegiances than music. Being seen with Diddy meant protection, but some of us felt the opposite. She also testified about the whispers, too many to ignore, about private after-parties, and about people being asked to sign non-disclosure agreements before entering certain rooms. Mariah stated, "It was all about survival." When prosecutors inquired further, she explained, "If you refused, you didn't get the invitation again, and eventually you didn't get the award show invite either." Behind the scenes, one name kept surfacing: Diddy, not as a mentor or mogul, but as someone orchestrating a new kind of empire. Publicly, Mariah never commented. She had no reason to. But on the stand, she acknowledged that by 2003 she had become deeply uneasy, and that it would all culminate on one fateful night. Raising her voice slightly, she began to recount the night of July 19th, 2003. She had been invited to an industry retreat in the Hamptons. Leaning slightly toward the microphone, she began narrating. Mariah claimed to be completely worn out after filming a music video, but her manager had urged her to attend. "They said it would look fantastic. Everyone big will be in attendance. Someone who's rebuilding his brand is hosting," referring to Diddy. With tinted windows and 2 private security checkpoints, the mansion was a large seaside estate. There were famous people, media moguls, and a handful of strange faces. People who weren't performers but rather observers, she added. When asked whether she had tried to leave, Mariah responded, "Yes, by 10:30 p.m. That's when Diddy approached her. He exuded a strange calmness, almost serene. "Is the VIP lounge anything you're interested in visiting?" he asked. Mariah protested, saying she was exhausted, but he was adamant, said he needed to clear up some confusion. So, she accompanied him into a side room off the main corridor. 2 bodyguards stood watch outside the door. The room was dimly lit, its atmosphere subdued, with velvet seats lining the walls. "He downed a drink and just stared at me for what felt like an eternity," Mariah remarked. Then, in a voice void of humor, he said, "If they find out what I really do, it's over." The courtroom went silent. Mariah made it clear. He wasn't grinning. He meant it. She wanted to know what he meant because he said it like someone who had already watched the fall of his kingdom in his mind. That was when he shifted the subject. As she attempted to leave, he momentarily blocked the door. Then, smiling, a smile that betrayed his real intent, he promised, "I'll take care of you. Just stay silent." Without another word, she left the room. "I've lived with the memory of that night for 20 years, she told the court, "and I will no longer be silent." Mariah testified that she checked out of the Hamptons mansion before dawn. The house was cloaked in an eerie silence as she passed by the guards unnoticed. With her longtime aide at the wheel, she quietly returned to Manhattan. "What I had just seen was completely foreign to me," she said. "It felt like a warning, as if she wasn't supposed to be there. But that wasn't the end of it." Around midday, as she returned to her penthouse at the St. Regis Hotel, a concierge arrived at her door carrying a black package. It had no return address, just her silver ink initials. Inside, pristine stacks of dollar bills, tightly bound in gold bands, $100,000 in total. There was no note, no explanation, until she found a smaller envelope tucked beneath the cash. A handwritten message inside read, "Regarding the time you have available, enjoy the evening by yourself. Thanks. Thanks." Mariah told the court that her stomach dropped. It wasn't just the money. It was the implication that she was being purchased. Her manager told her to return the envelope immediately. But when they called the number printed inside, it was disconnected. Her team later confirmed with hotel security that the package had arrived via a black SUV registered to a Manhattan rental fleet frequently used by associates of Bad Boy Entertainment. "I had no desire for the financial compensation," Mariah testified. "Whatever it was, I needed answers, or, at the very least, distance from that reality. Instead, what she felt was fear." She placed the entire package in the hotel safe. Weeks later, she mailed it back to the estate with no return address, just a scribbled note. You know where this belongs." She told no one, not even her closest friends. Something like that happens, and you try to push it out of your mind. But the memory returned in full force when she saw Diddy walk into the courtroom months ago, facing charges of extortion, abuse, and more. "I felt compelled to say something," she said. In the end, she couldn't allow that envelope, or what it represented, to remain silent any longer. All eyes turned to the prosecutor for the next question. "Dear Ms. Carey, did you hear from any other women at the 2003 party who were worried, or who just vanished?" Mariah grew visibly distressed for the first time during her testimony. "There was one," she said. "She wasn't famous. I don't think art was her field. Something in public relations or marketing. Her name was Lana, or at least that's how she introduced herself." Mariah recalled that Lana told her she felt out of place at the party. After a brief conversation, the woman had said something strange, that she had accidentally wandered into a side room and saw a man signing a document under supervision. She said there was a camera, lights, and someone standing over him. She left the room immediately. But later that night, Mariah realized Lana was missing. No one spoke her name again. 2 months later, a peculiar message arrived on Mariah's studio voicemail. It was a woman's voice, barely a whisper. "I shouldn't have seen that. No one should talk to me. You should be careful too." Mariah warned her team, but that same day, a studio intern accidentally erased the message. Still, the voice haunted her. Whether it was Lana or not, she could never say for sure. But toward the beginning of 2004, she quietly asked her boss to investigate the woman's identity. "She's gone," he informed her. "She's been wiped from the map. No recent job postings. Socials, washed." He cautioned Mariah against pressing further. She told the court that she was aware something was off. "But I also understood the inner workings of this industry," she said. "Those who dabbled didn't remain." When the court probed her for any proof that could link Diddy to Lana's disappearance, Mariah admitted, "There's no tangible evidence, just fear, the same fear that kept me quiet for 20 years. Still, prosecutors used her testimony to connect a tangled web of crimes, disappearing aides, mute dancers, and now, a global pop star who may have been paid to forget the entire thing.